Imagine moving to Canada, working really hard at your job, and suddenly facing racism. And that too, not from a Canadian, but from an Indian guy. That's exactly what happened to a man from Kerala who works as a sales advisor at a telecom company in Canada. One day, while he was attending to a customer, another Indian man walked into the store. Instead of talking to his colleague, the customer specifically pointed out at him and said, "I want to speak to the Indian guy." So he switched customers and started helping him. The conversation began in Hindi, even though Hindi wasn't his strongest language. Since he had been speaking French for hours that particular day, switching to Hindi was already a big challenge for him. But as part of his job, he had to make the sale, so he kind of continued. After discussing the product and the pricing, the sales advisor kind of realized that the customer wasn't serious about buying anything from him. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the customer asked, "Were you born in Canada?" The man replied, "No, I am from India." But the customer wasn't convinced enough. He insisted and asked again, "No, I mean, were you actually born here?" When the man clarified that he had moved to Canada just 2 years ago, the customer's tone completely changed. With a very mocking expression, the customer said, "Oh, you forgot Hindi in just 2 years? I would never forget it, even after 10 years. At this point, the sales advisor calmly explained, "Sir, Hindi is only my third language." The customer looked shocked. "How can Hindi be your third language?" That's what he asked, as if it was something unimaginable. The man then explained that he was from Kerala, where people primarily speak Malayalam and English. Upon hearing this particular thing, the customer said, "Oh, the South, you are one of those." Then, without another word, he walked out of the store. Now, this particular incident highlights a big issue within the Indian community, and that is language-based discrimination. Indians who don't speak Hindi often face judgments, mockery, or even exclusion from their own people. After the story was shared on Reddit, many others came forward with similar experiences. One person from Kerala shared, "I have been in Canada for a few years, and many Indians here question my nationality just because I don't speak Hindi. I even had a supervisor who told me to learn Hindi in a month. I had to complain to HR, and thankfully he was moved to another department." Another person recalled witnessing a car accident in Brampton. The guilty driver, an Indian man, asked the witness, "Are you a Canadian citizen?" Then he replied no. The man told him to go back to India and started using Hindi slurs. Ironically, the actual Canadian involved in the accident found this so ridiculous that he became friends with the witness. Now, many Indians in Canada feel pressure to speak Hindi, even though India has 22 official languages and Canada only recognizes English and French. Some people suggest simply refusing to engage in such conversations. In fact, one Reddit user advised that if somebody insists on speaking Hindi, just say you don't know it. If they can't speak English or French, then maybe they should consider going back to India where they can. Another suggested being kind to elderly people who genuinely need help, but ignoring everybody who tries to enforce Hindi on others. Let me tell you, this isn't just about language. It's about respecting India's diversity. India is not a Hindi-only country, right? Every region has its own language and culture. Just because somebody can't speak Hindi doesn't make them any less Indian. Unfortunately, even outside India, the mindset continues. Instead of supporting each other in foreign country, some Indians choose to divide based on language. But the real question is, when will we stop discriminating against our own people? What do you think? Have you ever faced something like that? Let's talk about this now.